Did you know that there's a Sopranos video game? The Sopranos Road to Respect is a legitimate licensed game of the Sopranos show, developed by Seven Studios, a shovelware game company. The script of the game was actually written by Alan Rucker, an author who's worked on other Sopranos tie-in media, like this Sopranos family cookbook I got for my birthday. But, unlike the cookbook, there's no delicious ziti waiting for me on the end of this review.
So what, no fucking ziti now? Hey!
Unlike most tie-in games, Road to Respect got the actual cast to voice their characters, including the great James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. The main character is actually voiced by Christian Malin, who was supposedly David Chase's second choice to play Christopher on the show. With all this legitimacy behind it, you might be wondering if the story of the game is worth checking out. After all, something like Ghostbusters the video game, which also features the original cast, is basically the third movie we never got, unlike some other abominations. So, is this a lost episode of The Sopranos, or yet another dump on its legacy? Let's find out. Unfortunately, I don't own a copy of the game, or really even have a desire to play it. So this isn't going to be an actual game review of the mechanics or anything. I'm going to be reviewing the story, and I'll be using footage from YouTuber Noir Station. He gave me permission to use his video, and you should check out his channel linked in the description for some very high quality long plays of games with no commentary. But without further ado, let's get into the video. This is The Sopranos, Road to Respect. Set between the 5th and 6th seasons, the story opens with Tony Soprano coming out of Satriale's. Now check out those glorious PlayStation 2 era graphics. Tony then sees a young man breaking into a car and stealing a purse. He stops him, and it's revealed that the young man is actually Big Pussy's illegitimate son, Joey LaRocca. Tony says that Pussy would be disappointed with how his son turned out, but Joey says that it doesn't matter since he isn't around. Tony then offers him work in their family, which Joey agrees to. Now, if this was an episode of the show, which it most certainly is not, I would say that Tony does this out of guilt for killing Pussy. But as we'll see later, that's not really the case. We then immediately jump ahead. This is where you first take control of Joey. You're sent to do grunt work for the family, such as delivering messages or fetching lunch, which, while accurate, isn't really a fun gameplay premise. The first real story mission you get is to help Paulie beat up some guy named Mario, who is making fun of him.
Just a mirage, my friend. He ain't here. Don't be so fucking stupid. You see a mirage, you don't hear it. Who doesn't know that?
Maron.
Son of a bitch!
Now go clean up, before I do something we both regret.
However, things go too far, and they end up killing the guy. I do have to admit, that does fit with Paulie's character.
Go piss it away at blackjack, fucking asshole.
Oh! What do you gotta say now?
Paulie then tells Joey to get rid of the body. Joey gets help from his friend Reggie. Reggie is a wannabe gangster who dreams of being part of the Soprano crew. He reminds me a lot of Brendan Filone. One, because he's kind of an idiot, but also because he's voiced by Brendan Filone's actor.
Tone, I used to be an installer.
I ain't trying to be a dick, Joey. I just want what you have.
They roll out the body in a carpet and take him down to the docks. Joey ends up fighting a bunch of dock workers along the way. I mean, I get that it's a fighting game, but you'd think that leaving all these witnesses would surely cause problems later, right? However, right as they're getting ready to dump the body into the water, they realize that Mario is still alive. It's very much a Pine Barrens moment. However, here, Joey does end up killing him. Afterwards, Reggie takes his watch, which he notes is engraved with a note from someone named Angie. Afterwards, they head to the Night Horse Casino to dump the car. While there, they run into Tony's defense counselor, Neil Camerata. Now, Tony's lawyer in the show is Neil Mink, but it's definitely not the same guy. This guy is a coke addict and a degenerate, which makes me wonder why Tony would even hire the guy. Also, his last name is the same as Carmela's cousin Brian, but again, no relation. It's just weird that they named him after two other characters from the show with absolutely no relation to either. Reggie ends up getting blackout drunk in the penthouse. Joey has to fight through pretty much every guest in the hotel in order to reach him. He eventually finds him, and they both head back home. The next day, Joey helps Christopher make his collections at the gym. And I just want to say, Christopher is a jerk in this game. More so than anyone else, really. He talks down to you the entire game, acts incredibly obnoxious, and starts fights with random people for no reason. Well, I guess we're guilty of that as well. But still, none of the other characters are really like this. This does take place after Season 5, so presumably Christopher is dealing with the loss of Adriana. But no, that's giving the game way too much credit to assume that they worked in that emotional beat into the storyline. And, as we'll see later, Christopher's animosity goes way further than just his attitude. At the gym, Joey runs into his old flame Trishelle. They reconnect and agree to go out. After the job, he also learns that Mario, the guy he killed, is actually the nephew of Angie Buscetta, the boss of the Philadelphia mob. Angie is concerned that his nephew has disappeared and knows that Reggie was walking around with his watch. Joey is then sent to get rid of Reggie so it doesn't lead back to the family. It's interesting that we get to see the Philly crew in this game. It was mentioned in the Season 2 episode D-Girl that Philadelphia does have a history of conflict with New Jersey.
What do you want me to say? Philadelphia's been putting pressure on the shy business? That's been going on since Moses wore short pants.
Joey then heads down to Reggie's apartment, after getting into yet another unnecessary fight. Geez, I mean, you're already in trouble for messing up the body dump, and now you're bringing even more attention to yourself right before you do a hit in the building? Something tells me they're going to have an easy time identifying a suspect after this. Inside Reggie's apartment, Joey gets ready to shoot him while his back is turned. However, Reggie is alerted by a noise and they get into a fight. Reggie then escapes out of the apartment. The scene very much reminds me of Bobby Bacala Sr.'s hit on Mustang Sally. Chasing Reggie onto the roof, you're actually presented with a choice whether or not to let Reggie go. This could make for an interesting dilemma, since Reggie is Joey's childhood friend and has been something of a companion to the player this whole time. However, they don't really do anything with it, and no matter what choice is taken, Reggie ends up dead, either by your hand or by Tuzio, one of Angela's hitmen who has followed you to the roof. You get into a fight with Tuzio, and he ends up falling off. After that, Joey attends a bar mitzvah for Hesh's nephew at Vesuvio. There, AJ asks him to work security at a rave he's putting on. This does fit with AJ's event planning phase he was going through at the time.
An event planner? Where do you get this shit?
However, AJ's friend messes up a drug deal, which means they owe 10 grand to their Jamaican backers. They then do the completely reasonable thing in the situation and murder the kid and steal Tony's new SUV from AJ. This is of course completely ridiculous, and it makes me question why seeing a Nigerian kid beaten up sends AJ into a spiraling depression in the 6th season, after he saw his friend literally gutted like a fish right in front of him here. Knowing that Tony will have him killed if he finds out what happened, Joey tracks the car down to a chop shop. Again, this is similar to Pussy searching for AJ's teacher's car in Season 1, and Christopher saving the car from the wedding boost in Season 5.
This Benz SL55, he wants a pull.
I'll make some calls.
Joey then recovers the car, but is called for a job at Neil's office. However, despite being called there, he still has to fight his way through an army of lawyers and security guards in order to get to him. Is this how normal legal offices work?
Pinkman, he'll see you now.
Why didn't you...
While he's doing all of this, Tony's car is stolen again, this time by Angie's men. Tony also learns that Angie is doing a big drug deal in his territory without his permission. He sends Joey to burn down Angie's porn studio as payback, just like how he blew up Phil's wire room in Kaisha. However, after setting fire to the place, Joey finds out Trishelle is in the building, as she works as a porn star there. After getting her out, she gives him a ride back to the Bing, and they share a nice kiss. Afterwards, Joey is called by AJ, who's being attacked by the Jamaicans again. Joey fights them off, but AJ is injured and sent to the hospital. Tony is furious at Joey when he learns about what happened at the rave. But you'd think he'd be more pissed that he made AJ an accomplice to 3 murders, which occurred in a very public space in broad daylight. Somehow I think Tony's police connections are going to have a hard time getting them off of this one. Tony does end up forgiving Joey once AJ explains the truth. However, at that moment, Buscetta returns Tony's car. The car has been totaled, and even worse, Trishelle is inside, having been beaten and raped by Buscetta's men. Alright, let's take a step back here. Until this point, things have been over the top and violent, but mostly humorous. This is a hard right turn, and in pretty bad taste. Unlike the episode Employee of the Month, which treated its subject matter with respect, here Christopher makes a joke immediately afterward.
Son of a fucking bitch! I'll kill them both!
Well, someone's gonna have to. Not Joey. Those two were putting people under when he was jerking off in gym class.
Nobody fucking asked you.
Sorry. Everything's so fucking morbid.
They don't reference what happened to Trishelle again or explore the consequences or anything, so neither will I. Instead, let's talk for a minute about Tony's car. Tony is known for his love of SUVs. Even the title sequence of the show features him driving one. Throughout the first 4 seasons of the show, Tony drives a 1999 red Chevy Suburban. At the start of season 5, he starts to drive a black Escalade. However, in the episode Irregular Around the Margins, Tony totals the car while going birdwatching with Adriana. He then switches back temporarily to the Suburban until Christopher shoots it up. From the episode In Camelot until the series finale, he drives a white Escalade, and since this game is supposed to take place between 5 and 6, this car is definitely not the black Escalade he had for a while. It's possible he was planning on getting a new car and switched back to the white Escalade when this one was destroyed, but seeing how long Tony usually keeps cars, this seems unlikely. Anyways, back to the game. Joey is sent to the docks in order to kill Buscetta. However, when he arrives, he's hit in the back of the head and knocked out. But instead of just killing him, they tie him up and leave him unattended in a shipping container. But Dr. Evil logic aside, the bigger issue is this line here.
Hey, Louis, tell Angie we found them, just like Christopher said.
Did I miss something here? Yeah, I know Christopher was being an asshole the whole game, but did he really set us up to die? Well, yeah, at the end he kind of references it. But why? Why would he want us to die? Why would he go against Tony? Is it because we kind of talked back to him at Vesuvio earlier? That's many Saints levels of pettiness. Is it that he's jealous of us and doesn't want the competition for Tony's affection? He has a line kind of suggesting that, but that doesn't really work because we never really interact with Tony during the course of the game. And the few times we do, he's usually pissed off at us. I genuinely don't understand what they were trying to say with this. I really think someone at 7 Studios just really had a hard-on for Christopher and wanted to write him in the worst light possible. But regardless, Joey escapes, fights through wave after wave of thugs until he reaches Buscetta. Buscetta taunts Joey by saying that it was Tony who whacked his father. However, after a boss battle, if you can call it that, Joey kills him and throws him overboard.
I'm Joey LaRocca. Hear that? Joey LaRocca. The last name you're ever gonna hear.
Literally right after this, like not even a moment later, we jump ahead to Joey's making ceremony. Joey asks Tony for the truth about what happened to his father. In a surprising moment of honesty, Tony says that Pussy broke his oath, and that's all there is to it. Pussy's ghost then shows up and congratulates his son for getting made. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Pussy shows up occasionally and comments on the events of the story. I forgot about it because it's completely irrelevant. It doesn't really add anything to Pussy's character. Like, he says he's not bitter about what Tony did, but is that really how Pussy would react? He was resentful of how Tony treated him while he was still alive, and it seems like Christopher was still pissed off even after he was killed. They really just included the scenes in order to have an excuse to have Vinny Pastore in the game.
What's good about what happened with this game is that I was able to have some closure with my family, which I really wasn't able to do in the series.
I guess you can say that it's all in Joey's head, so it's a reflection of how he hoped his father would react. But again, Joey doesn't grow or change over the course of the story, aside from the first cutscene. It's not like these conversations helped him to accept himself or his role in the Mafia. He wanted to be a part of the crew from the very beginning, so instead they serve as brief commentary on actions that the player had no real choice in. Anyway, Joey ends up getting made, and you're welcomed into the Sopranos crew. I said in my episode review that Christopher's making ceremony was a little lackluster, but this one is even worse. They don't say anything about the benefits of joining, like brotherhood or respect. They just list the rules, and then you're done. Game over. Overall, what can we say about Road to Respect? David Chase himself said the game was pushed by HBO and has no connection to the show. Joey LaRocca doesn't appear in the show and is never mentioned. And besides, the story of the game is basically a violent SNL parody of what the show stood for. You're not getting any of the deep character moments or themes from the show that made it great here. However, it is kind of cool that we got the actual cast involved. It's also impressive that they at least tried to make a narrative-driven game, and it seems like they went out of their way to make it as authentic as they could for being a shovelware studio. All Breaking Bad got was a shitty Clash of Clans style mobile game for their tie-in.
That is, without a doubt, the dumbest fucking idea I ever heard.
So if you're absolutely starved of Sopranos content, maybe check out the game. But if you're looking for it to actually feel like an episode of the show, you're probably better off just rewatching this show. Or, even better, checking out a Sopranos video online. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there making Sopranos content. I know this was something a little different. It's not really a game review because I didn't play the game. But I've always wanted to talk about the story of the game, and I figured now is as good a time as any. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and if you didn't, April Fools! This was a joke video the whole time! It sucked on purpose, you idiot! Ha ha ha, got him. I woke up this morning, got some gabagool. Russell, Sean, Heart of Markness, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, Obsc Racing Media, Daz J. Kit, Conan Higgins, Sam Cedarlin, Don Lucania, Celery Man, and Jenna Marie Johnson.